Hey, Book Baddie.
I'm Casper, and my pronouns are they, she.
And I'm Cierra, and my pronouns are she, her.
Welcome to the Bound to Be Bad podcast, a book club podcast where we discuss one book a season from the perspective of someone who has never read it before.
And from the perspective of someone who has. This season, we are so excited to be reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros with you.
We aim to rave and rant about anything and everything that comes to mind while reading. But please note, this podcast will be discussing book spoilers as we talk about each week's chapters.
As this will be Casper's first time reading, spoilers for anything beyond the already read material is not fair game.
This podcast is run by adults who will most likely be using adult language and talking about adult themes, so please be aware of your surroundings while listening.
These thoughts and opinions are expressly our own, and by no means reflect those of the original author. Reading is a privilege, books are art, and art is subjective.
That being said, we'd love for you to read along with us and share your thoughts and opinions as well.
So without further ado, prepare to enter Bezgaeth War College.
Yes.
So a quick refresh on how this conversation is about to go down. First, a little about us. This is, after all, my excuse to catch up with my bestie and force them to obsess over my obsessions too. Then I'll provide a short and sassy summary of chapters 9 through 12. We'll give our brief non-spoilery overall thoughts before diving into each chapter individually. Then we'll discuss our favorite quotes or moments and any predictions for the rest of the book. Finally, we've got a fun little section where we've each picked a song to dedicate to each chapter. Songs that we'll compile into a public playlist for you, our fellow book baddies. Got it? Good. Now let's dive in. What's the obsession this week? It better be Fourth Wing. Don't you lie to me. I know you're loving it.
I am loving it. I really am. So, full transparency, because of my ADHD, I tend to procrastinate things. Between that and also wanting to make sure that I don't forget what I'm wanting to say for the podcast and forget about all my thoughts while I'm reading it. I typically read the chapters in the last 2-ish days before we record. And then I'll also typically listen to the chapters again the day of before we record.
Okay.
But this time I started reading it a lot sooner, and I read in smaller chunks and smaller portions.
Did you find that helpful?
Kind of. Although I ended up just kind of going back and rereading it again anyway, after I'd read through everything.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
And more like skimming the second time. But I do think it helped me pick up on more things. So basically, the thing I've been most obsessed with this week is actually Fourth Wing, because I've actually spread it out over the whole week reading it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Especially as we're getting deeper into it. I feel like we're just past the introduction and we're finally kind of getting a bit more world stuff. Generally, we've met dragons, and so we get into the good stuff finally.
Yes, I don't have words. I'm just excited. Only noises.
That's all this podcast is anyway. We just random noises.
Yep, vocalizations.
As for me, I've kind of got a twofer. One doesn't necessarily count because it's a person, but I've gotten a chance to babysit my niece, and it's been really nice because I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. She's only 9 months old, and so quite tiny and very adorable. She's so funny. She's just started crawling yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome!
2 steps, but still, it was a big moment.
It counts.
So I've been obsessed with my niece, and then I finally found time to get into the book I showed last week, In Embers by Helen. I'm also listening to the audiobook, and I believe it's actually Cierra, not Cierra like I said last time. So I apologize for mispronouncing Helen Cierra. I'm about 10% in, and it's going. We'll see. It's still very early. It's difficult to get into when I'm so just deeply invested in Fourth Wing right now.
Feel that.
But I'm trying. It's already been a month since Onyx Storm came out, and I still haven't gotten into another book. Granted, we've been starting this podcast, so.
True. But you know what? You need a rebound book.
Honestly. And I'm hoping this will be it.
After that very emotional breakup, you need a rebound.
Honestly. Alright, shall we get into our short and sassy summary? Did you notice I changed that right before we started?
Yes, and I like it.
You called me, I think, short and sassy in our last episode. And so then when I was doing it this time around, I was like, alliteration.
I love alliteration.
Alrighty. So, short and sassy summary of chapters 9 through 12. Edging over. We get Xaden and Violet on the mat. It's unnervingly hot. And he completely wipes the floor. I mean, teaches Violet valuable things about proper angles for good fits. For daggers, you nasty. Cue transitional wipe as we're taking to Dane's room, where Violet receives a very platonic half-naked massage after Xaden scares the bejesus out of Violet, Dane, and Rhiannon. Did I mention this was a platonic half-naked massage? Because Dane soon reveals he went to Markham and asked him to accept Violet in the, say it with me everybody, scribe quadrant. A little voice inside Violet urges her to stay, while she half-heartedly agrees to think about it. Meanwhile, first years start practicing the gauntlet, an agility course built into a cliffside meant to prove a cadet's ability to mount and ride a dragon. It just so happens that the only way to make it to presentation, where the dragons get a first look at the cadets available for bonding, is by making it up the gauntlet, and Violet is too short. Looks like that makes two of us. Losing orally really impacts Violet, as she sincerely thinks over Dane's offer. That is, until an unexpected run-in with Xaden forces Violet to view her predicament in a new light. Xaden's advice sparks a plan. We love it when our girl has a plan. And just in time for presentation day. Dane throws a hissy fit, angry that Violet has chosen to stay, but when confronted, our girl holds her ground and manages to climb the gauntlet with some creative rule bending. This enrages Amber Mavis, but Violet out-codexes the codex-loving Dane fucking wing leader, and the entire squad makes it. After the exhausting event that was the gauntlet, this leisurely stroll in front of 100 plus 1 dragons should be a piece of cake, right? Right. So long as you don't get barbecued by a dragon who found you lacking. After a few close calls and a mysterious golden dragon, our previously intact squad survives, give or take 2 cadets. Starting this year with 9 and leaving us with only 6. Your thoughts on these chapters?
Oh my god, it's so hot in many ways. That's the only thing I have that's non-spoilery, to be honest. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So should we just dive in then?
Yeah, I'm into it. I made my pun. Let's go.
Yeah. Alrighty, so chapter 9. So we start on the sparring mat. It's going to be hard for me to not just quote almost everything Xaden says.
I mean, honestly, I understand. I understand.
Banter and the sparring, it's just so good. It's so well done.
It's delicious.
It really is.
Scrumptious even.
It's my favorite. I was listening to it in the car when I took Dan to work this morning. And I was like, I miss sparring. He was like, what? I was like, sparring. Because I did martial arts growing up. But I don't know if I ever brought that up with Dan, and we've been together for like going on 13 years now. So maybe something I should have brought up.
Hold up. 13 years. And the man did not know that y'all did martial arts. You know how many stories about you doing martial arts I could tell that man? And I didn't even know you when you did the martial arts.
I mean, you knew me shortly after.
Shortly after, but not during.
True. I had a phase.
And even then, that was like freaking 20 years ago.
Like, I was deep into martial arts. This is also the start of Xaden calling Violet violence after the whole, you really are a violent little thing, aren't you, line from under the tree. And I swoon every time. I know some people find the nickname a little, I guess, cheesy. But what are your thoughts on the nickname violence?
I like it.
I do too.
It's an adorable play on her name, but it's definitely meant to get under her skin and be a little barb. And I just think in that way, it's already perfect. But then even if you imagine them together as a couple, happily in love, him still calling her that, like, it just becomes adorable.
Right. Apparently, Rebecca Yarros came up with the nickname Violence first and was like, what name can I pull from Violence? Violet.
I like it.
I find that interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it shows that Xaden sees a side of her that maybe she doesn't even see in herself yet. I mean, look at who her mother is. The
Honestly.
Ice Queen herself. Like, there's no way Violet can come out of that family and not be a little bit ruthless. So it's a fun little tale. He's so observant, like under the tree last episode, where before she even turns around, she pulls a knife from her thigh and he knows to put it back there because he noticed. Little things like that. He's very much a attentive observer, for lack of a better word. When Dane... Just Dane in these chapters. I mean, Dane in this whole book, let's be honest. I believe it's when Orly and Riddick are sparring. He's telling Riddick not to go easy on Orly just because she's a woman. And as soon as Aiden decides to spar with Violet, he's like, a little out of her league, don't you think? No confidence in her skills whatsoever, even though she's won 5 consecutive challenges before this. I'm just like, dude, no, no change?
He gives her no credit. Absolutely zero. Driving me in fucking insane.
But I mean, like, in a delicious way, kind of, because it's like, it's just so fun to kind of hate on him.
It honestly kind of is.
Right?
I won't lie. Yeah.
And just the way he decides to start teaching on the mat. And Violet is so confused because it's so ingrained into her head that this man is trying to kill her, that the idea of him trying to help at all is just like, are you sure? Like, I'm right here. You can kill me now. I'm not going to. Okay. And the fact that he notices that she's been winning because she's been poisoning people.
Right?
Which no one else has done.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think after 5 challenges of people getting sick.
You would think people would be suspicious, right? Not a one person was thinking, it's a little sus. Okay.
He has a point, though. I believe he says, and I quote from the book, problem is, if you aren't testing yourself in here, then you're not going to get any better. Violet is so horny for this man, but is in such denial over it.
Right?
How easy was it for you to follow along in their sparring? Like, with the different maneuvers that they were doing, and, like, him flipping her over when she tries to reach for his neck? Was it difficult for you to understand the mechanics of the sparring?
Yes and no. I got an idea of what they were doing, but as far as visualizing it beat for beat, I wasn't quite able to. I think that's just a mental thing for me, you know?
Fair, yeah.
But I will say it was easier for me to follow than describing the gauntlet was.
Okay.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, the 5 different switchbacks of the gauntlet when we get there. It took me several reads to be like, okay, I think I understand. I would not be able to reiterate it to anybody else, but I have somewhat of a mental image in my brain. But I love when he grabs her thighs and they end up careening into a roll. And he ends up on top. And she's like, of course he does, in her inner monologue. She calls him a beautiful fucking asshole.
I love that she's jealous of Imogen just for the fact that Xaden handed his weapons to her.
Like, clearly that shows a sign of trust, so they must be fucking.
They must be fucking. And like, okay, girl, so even if they are, why do you care?
Right. Like, jealousy should be a red flag. That feelings are not what I thought they were.
Right?
Let's reevaluate what I'm
Maybe
feeling.
not even red flag, just like a yellow warning flag. Just like, hey, hello.
We really see, and it started, I believe, a little bit in a couple of previous chapters, but Violet's moral compass. Xaden's showing her all these places that would be perfect placements for daggers.
Killing blows,
Yes.
essentially.
She's like, I've avoided those at all costs. She doesn't want to kill anybody. She's like, I'm gonna make it through this writer's quadrant without any fatalities.
Yeah, keeping her hands clean as much as possible.
And I admire that, but I feel like the odds are a little difficult in this world for that to be true.
Yes.
And then Dane interjects after a little bit. He's like, is he always that overprotective? When Violet responds that he cares for me. He's like, he's holding you back. And I'm just like...
He's right. He has a point.
And to go along with that, before he leaves the mat, he calls back to Dane. He's like, she could use a little less protection and a little more instruction.
Tell him. Tell him good.
Was it jarring for you to go from sparring with Xaden to suddenly Violet being essentially topless in Dane's bed getting a massage?
A little bit?
It was for me.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like a 180, like, oh. What? Okay, so now all the men are touching you. Okay, I mean, get it, but...
More power to you, but I wasn't expecting it. Also, I love this part about how, so she's so sore, not just from that total demonstration with Xaden, but then afterwards for 2 hours Rhiannon drills her in sparring practice because she got scared too for her best friend, and I'm just like, friendship.
I love them. I don't know, in this section that we read, just I love their relationship. I love watching it grow. I love seeing them bond, and it just, I think I'm into it more than the romance right now.
Fair. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the romance hasn't really started yet. It's mostly just tension. But I love a good girl-mance.
And I feel like, too, as we know more of the squad. Rebecca Yarros is so good at just throwing in little one-liners, not necessarily just dialogue, but also when we get to the gauntlet. I've got a couple different examples of Riddick and Sawyer specifically, who, as well as Rhiannon, but they do things. Their actions say so much as far as like the camaraderie between these people and this little found family unit. I want to be included. Can I be a friend? Can I be a squad mate? It's so good. It's so well done.
You my squad mate forever.
Forever.
Forever, ever.
I was going to do that too.
That's that one brain cell coming in clutch.
So they're talking about dragons, and Dane let slip that he went behind her back and talked to Markham about the scribe quadrant.
Yup. Okay, yeah. So I wrote in my notes, fucking Dane, shut the fuck up and stop touching her like that. Because
Right?
the way he touches her in this scene, massage aside, okay, whatever, she's in pain. Therapy. Did it need to be Dane? Who knows? I'm sure Rhiannon could have done just as good of a job. But okay, whatever. There's trust, I understand. But when it talks about his hands flying to my hips, holding me in place when I try to step away. I'm sorry. I don't think any of my friends of any gender have ever put their hands on my hips. That is a very intimate embrace kind of thing.
This is an aside. I can't. My single brain cells, as soon as you said hand on hips, my brain went, I put my hand up on your hip when I dip you dip we did. I needed to get it out. Sorry.
It's okay. I love it.
I was just about to say that too. We've been around each other for too long.
Much too long.
Much too long. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Same. You can't get rid of me, you fool.
What was I thinking?
You should know better.
She's sitting there on the bed in like a bandage bra situation. She sits up and has a pillow to cover herself, but then as soon as she goes up to him, she leaves it behind and she's running her hands through his hair. And that's when he puts his hands on her hips when she tries to back away. And I'm like, this is all very intimate.
Yeah. Again, it takes me back to the, are you sure y'all are just friends and you've never done the freaky?
The horizontal hanky-panky.
The monster with 4 legs?
The thing that I hate most about Dane's just non-belief in his supposed lifelong best friend is the way he makes her feel with his words and his actions. Specifically, and I quote, "The truth of the words tighten around my chest like a vice, cutting off my air instead of holding me together, leaving me weak and breathless. Dane knows me better than anyone, and if he still thinks I can't do this after I've made it this far, I'm just like, fuck you, Dane Atos, for making her feel less than when she's a badass." And anytime any man makes any female-presenting person feel less than, I get so mad. So mad.
I understand. For me, what also just really pisses me off is how fucking selfish his concern is. He can't stand to lose her. He can't stand to watch her die or get hurt. So who do you really care about here? Like, are you cared about her actual safety or the emotional pain that you would go through? But just shut the fuck up, Dane.
And then, to go along with the way he makes her feel, he essentially calls her a liability. So she responds, "I am not a damned liability." My chest tightens again, because deep down I know on the physical level that I am. And I'm just like, but you're not. And then his hand rises to cup the side of her face.
Yo.
And I'm just like, sir, what are you doing?
I don't trust him. I do not trust him. I don't think he actually has her best interest at heart. He's just a little bitch.
Honestly.
A nosy little bitch.
Has to know everything. And he says save you again. He has such a complex about trying to keep her in this box that he created growing up. Like, this is putting words into this character's mouth. I don't know if he did. But I can imagine that he thought he would go away to Writer's Quadrant, graduate, have whatever flings he needed, Amber Mavis, then leave and possibly marry and settle down with Violet. And so he had, like, this whole picture of her in his head. And then as soon as she comes in and pops that bubble for him, he's like, well, no, because my plans are still to be with Violet in the long term. And so she can't do everything that's going to make my future plans that no one else is in the know of fall apart. I can totally see that.
I can see that too.
I mean, how else has he gone? I think every challenge in the previous episodes were once a week. So at least 5 weeks have gone by. And you are so stubbornly holding on to this image of her that, like, I don't understand how so much time has gone by and he hasn't changed.
Like that he can't see how much she's grown and how well she's doing.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. But
yeah,
words failed me.
That's okay. I got you, boo.
I appreciate you. And he holds both sides of her face and tips it up to his face. And I'm just like, that's intimate as fuck. Y'all don't kiss? What's happening?
Even if he's not trying to actually, like, look in her head, that is super fucking intimate. Don't touch her like that.
And then resting, like, foreheads against each other. It's just like...
I'm okay, hold on. Because I have, to me, personally, that is one of the most intimate and comforting gestures that someone can do. That is something I do with my partners. That is something I do with my cats. It seems really silly. For me personally, that is something that is just, like, it's so bonding for me. So, like, that was, like...
The fact that he, like, uses this and then begs. It's almost like the intimacy is an act to try to persuade Violet. It doesn't necessarily feel genuine sometimes, and I'm just like...
It feels very manipulative.
And then Violet's line, so he's constantly pushing, and there's this little voice that's like, but what if you can? When he's, like, resting his forehead against hers, it says, quote, I squeeze my eyes shut. This is my way out, and yet I don't want to take it. I'm like, you listen to that little voice.
Hell yeah,
you listen to it.
Hell yes.
Also masterfully just, like, sprinkled in. She wants to stay, like, deep down, subconsciously, even if she hasn't acknowledged it. Yeah.
The way we said that at the same time.
We literally haven't seen each other in a week, and we're just over here on the same brain wave. It's wild.
It's the shared brain cell, I'm telling you. Y'all don't believe, but here is the proof. This shit happens all the time.
We should make a, like, compilation at the end of the season of all of our shared brain cell moments.
Oh my god, we should.
So let's get into chapter 10. It's Gauntlet. I know we talked a little bit about it already. You said it was kind of confusing, understanding the different switchbacks.
Yes. I'm still not entirely confident about what a switchback is.
I believe so. It's in the cliffside that leads to the flight field for presentation. The switchbacks just means so you come at it from one angle. A switchback would be then, like, the curve to go back up to another ascent.
Okay.
So there's, like, 5 of those zigzagging.
That's kind of what I thought, because, like, spent 6 weeks camping on a mountain, and when we had to drive up the mountain, there were those, and at one point, I think this is what a switchback is. I never knew.
Now just imagine that, but it's an obstacle course, American Ninja Warrior style.
No. Switchbacks are terrifying.
This is the chapter we lose Oralee in. And there's so much foreshadowing as to which obstacle in particular Oralee passes away on. Like, she is the pro on this obstacle course. Her dad created obstacle courses for her and her brother growing up. She kept giving everybody advice on this one particular part, and it's the part she dies on.
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna freaking cry talking about it. Oh my god, it's so upsetting.
And especially because Oralee was kind of written as part of the friendlier pack of the squad with Rhiannon and Sawyer and Riddick. We finally meet all 9 of the first years in this chapter. Before we get there, I'm just going to point out some of the foreshadowing to Oralee's end. So besides the obstacle courses being something that she did growing up, she's talking about her brother, who's already in service. Quote, he said to watch out for those giant posts jutting from the side of the cliff. They spin and you can get crushed between them if you're not fast enough. Rhi was like, good. I was wondering when it might get difficult.
I love sassy Rhi.
Just give me all the sass. If I could read a book that was just sass, I would be sat for the entire thing. Also, Violet's inner monologue of, go fast. Got it.
Yes. Also, that you could have included that tidbit, Brennan. Just like, fuck you, dead brother.
How dare you not tell me in order to pass this obstacle.
All of the things that could kill me.
Yep. So, I'm trying to understand the overall timeline of things better. I know threshing happens on October 1st. Presentation is 2 days before threshing. Okay. So this has to be like very end of September time. I find it interesting that only Riddick is really bothered with the cold. And he's saying they're like trying to warm up his hands. Felt like that needed to be documented because I actually followed along with the timeline a little bit then. I'm like, okay, so it must be getting colder. We're heading into fall. Riddick stands up for Violet when Tynan is just being an ass.
I freaking love Riddick. I freaking love him.
I knew you would.
He is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. I just love him.
I do too. I really want to do, like, once we know more of, like, the core characters in the story, because guess what? We still haven't gotten to those relationships yet. I'm excited to see, like, we should have a night or, like, an episode that's strictly just, like, making up games. So, like, Fuck, Marry, Kill, or, like, Smash or Pass. Like, those kind of characters in the books.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be fun.
I'm so down.
We can make it, like, a drinking night or something. We can have lavender lemon drops.
Oh my gosh, this is such a fantastic idea. I love it.
The lavender lemon drop demon. Go for it. So, thoughts on Tynan?
Fuck him? Simply fuck him?
I mean, it also shows, like, he's in with Oren Seifert and Jack Barlow. He makes great choices. And then Sawyer comes in. Sawyer kind of takes on, like, I've been through this once already.
Almost like an older brother. Yeah. Very, like, sagely role.
And I love it. And he's just very no-nonsense, but in a, I'm doing this to help you. Not a...
Being an asshole.
Yeah.
Other people in the squad.
I feel like as someone who's already been through the quadrant once and has already done the gauntlet, Sawyer kind of naturally falls into that leadership position. Tynan is just spewing incorrect facts about how the gauntlet is going to work. And so both Sawyer, and if you read the epigraph for this chapter, Brennan also says that the times don't mean shit. Like, just focus on getting up the damn gauntlet safely. I literally wrote Brennan and Sawyer equals trust, because I would trust what they say over something Tynan says. Because as soon as Tynan says, our times aren't just ranked individually, Riddick. We're scored as a squad too, which is how the order for presentation is decided. Do you really think any dragon wants to bond a cadet who walks in after every other squad in the processional? And Violet instantly is just like, he has a point. It's a shitty one, but it's there. I'm like, don't believe him.
Yeah. Girl, your confidence has been getting so much better. Like, don't let him bring you down. Don't let him get in your head.
I think it's something that Violet, as a scribe, would maybe be more anything that's written is law. And so I would imagine seeing Brennan's written entry into the Book of Brennan would hold more sway in this moment, but maybe not.
Yeah, we all have those moments, you know?
We get the names of all the 9 first years in Second Squad. There's Sawyer, Pryor, Trina, Tynan, Rhiannon, Riddick, Violet, Orly, and Luca. We've talked about Sawyer and Riddick already. We already love Rhiannon. Thoughts on any of the other characters that we kind of meet in this?
Fuck Tynan, what a stupid dick. Emphasis on the stupid, and then more emphasis on the dick.
So, like, a little bit of emphasis on stupid, but more emphasis on dick?
Exactly. Like extra sprinkling of a fucking dick. Also, shut the fuck up, Luca. Why is everyone an asshole? Like, come on. Oh, this bitch has it coming.
And poor Pryor.
Yeah, I have feelings about Pryor. We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Trina, this is the first time I think I've heard Trina spoken of.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I feel like they maybe mentioned her name because the name sounded familiar, but I feel like this is the first time she's taken any sort of focus even for a minute.
And it's one of those characters where it's just kind of like, she's easily forgettable, because this is really kind of the only interaction we have so far. And then being told, like, she's quiet and
Doesn't really interact with anyone in the squad.
yeah. And so it makes sense as to why Violet maybe doesn't talk about or notice Trina as often.
That's true.
But it still is kind of like, I would have liked to get to know her a little.
I love how she was like, if she didn't have friends in First Wing or whatever, I would be worried about her. Like, oh, Violet, you're so sweet. Didn't Mira tell you not to do that?
Right.
Like, just complete disregard for that advice. Fuck Mira, I guess.
Well, Mira's not in the college right now.
It's true.
Therefore, advice not received. I find, especially in these moments, Violet really shows innate leadership skills. Tynan hears from Jack Barlow that Dane and Violet are an item. And the emotional maturity that Violet has in this moment to withhold just instantly clapping back. And then it's just like, it's none of your goddamn business who I'm sleeping with, Tynan. Violet will, as any 20-year-old who's still coming into their own emotional maturity, flip-flop quite a bit on this. But I wanted to highlight this one moment of just emotional maturity, clarity, because it was nice to see. It was nice to know, oh, that's in there somewhere.
She's got it within her. She just needs to tap into it a little bit more often.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of Dane, after Violet says, Honestly, it's none of your goddamn business who I'm sleeping with, Tynan. She then goes on in her inner monologue to say, quote, though if I'm going to get accused, can't I have some of the perks? If I know Dane, he's hung up on the whole fraternization is discouraged within the chain of command thing, like this asshole. But surely Dane would actually make a move if he really wanted to, right? I literally wrote in my book he did with Amber Mavis, who was a year above him, and now wing leader. And so it's just like, it's right
It just
there.
feels like
you,
he's... Sorry, continue.
But she answered herself. She wants to be with Dane in this way. If he wanted to, he would. And you just flat out said it, but you don't understand that you answered your own question in that moment.
He's toying with her, and it feels so obvious, except not to her, apparently. Because, yeah, she can clearly state it. Like, if he wanted to, he would.
Violet, I feel, is also very much the type of person who gives second and third and fourth chances to everyone. She cares. She meets someone and she cares. Like that example with Trina. If she didn't already have friends, I'd be worried for her. But I don't have to because she seems like she's got a support group. I feel that. She gives me big Cancer energy. And it might just be because I know that her birthday's in July and I'm a Cancer. The birthday in July. And so I'm just like, we the same.
It could be.
I will give Tynan a little bit of the benefit of a doubt because when he finds out that Dane and Violet aren't a thing, that they're just close friends from childhood, emphasis on the child part, he says sorry, which is more than Barlow or Seifert have ever done. So I'm like,
true.
The chance of redeemability? Maybe?
God, the bar is just so goddamn low.
It really is. Then she starts to compare Dane and Xaden's leadership styles. Riddick says something to the effect of, you're lucky Ados isn't here, to which Violet thinks, quote, true, Dane would more than take exception to Tynan's assumptions and probably assign him cleanup duty for a month. Good thing he's on the flight field this time of day. Xaden would just beat the shit out of him. Then she gets scared about that comparison and she's like, I blink, shoving that comparison and any other thought of Xaden Ryerson far out of my head. I'm just like, this is a great example of seeing how Dane actually leads because for the most part, it feels like he's never really with the first years when he's supposed to be their squad leader.
Yeah, it feels like most of the time when we see him, it's just like him and Violet, or it's them as a group, but there are people who outrank him, so he doesn't really have the opportunity to, like, be a leader kind of thing.
Or he throws a hissy fit, like we'll see leading up to the actual official gauntlet day. But I just find that very telling of how he thinks he should be as a leader, whereas Xaden's very much just like, duke it out, get it over with, never think about it again. And that earns him respect in this college, apparently.
Yes.
So the first couple of times I read this, I understood that the gauntlet is timed, but then when Rhiannon brings up, wouldn't it make more sense to let first year start practicing this thing right after parapet? You know, to give us a little more time so we don't die.
That's the point.
Emma Terrio says specifically, the timing is part of the challenge. And I always took that as like, oh, you mean because it's timed? No, I think you mean like the timing for when they start practicing is because they don't want everyone to succeed. They're trying to get rid of the weakest link. And it only just dawned on me. And I feel real bad about it. I didn't catch it.
It happens.
I literally wrote in here, they want it to be lethal.
That they do. Like, they're counting on people to die. They're intending for people to die.
They say that the number of dragons willing to bond every year is getting smaller. I don't know if they're trying to weed out the weakest, so that way the people who do get dragons are more deserving or are...
You're suited, you know, essentially the best fit possible.
Or even so there's not so much like contention afterward. There'll be unbonded cadets, and so I wonder if they're also trying to weed out so that there's less unbonded that then cause more chaos after. I don't know. I also ended up just highlighting every time the squad was supportive of each other within this chapter. I find it interesting that anytime Sawyer or Rhiannon speak up either to the group or to someone specifically, it's always immediately right after each other, or like the first person to encourage Sawyer when he's taking the gauntlet is Rhiannon. Clearly, I feel like some sort of comparison is being drawn between the two, like either they're both going to be leaders at some point, or I don't know, I feel like Rebecca's very slowly dropping little like, you need Rhiannon and Sawyer to be together. Like, think of them together in your brain. I won't tell you why yet, but
interesting.
Correlate the two of them together.
That's a very astute observation.
Is it? I don't know.
I mean, I didn't notice that.
This is also your first read through, and this is like my 7th. So, I'm still only just now finding things.
But that's what's so fun about rereading.
Or even Rhiannon's the first one to be like, you got this, to Sawyer when he's taking the gauntlet. Then And Mateo's like, perfect technique when he makes it to the top. Luca's a bitch.
As
And
always.
it's like, if the dragons have some sense of taste, he immediately is like, give it a rest, Luca. Like, she's the first one to like defend Sawyer. And also when we get introduced to Sawyer in earlier chapters, Rhee's the one that's like, that must be really tough to have to retake. I wonder if Rhee instantly feels sympathy, maybe, for Sawyer, and therefore that started some sort of connection.
That could be.
Another foreshadow moment of Orly calling their own ending. Sawyer's up at the top, yelling down advice, like, you can do it. And Orly's like, they go in opposite direction.
Oh my god, I know. Also, where's the one that I found? Is it Immaterial? Yes.
The professor, yeah.
He's like calling out the order, and he says, you're the only squad to remain intact since Parapet. That's incredible. Your squad leader must be very proud. Come on,
He
now.
didn't do jack shit to keep them.
Well, yeah, that too. But, like, if that's not fucking foreshadowing, like, oh, they're the only squad that's left still intact? Really? Funny you should point that out. I wonder what's gonna happen. That one felt a little bit obvious to me.
Fair, yeah.
But that's okay. It means I actually caught it. Because I did not catch the ones that you're pointing out of, like, when this is how you know it's orally. I didn't get those ones. I just got the really obvious one.
Hey, it's still a win.
It counts.
You still got it.
It counts. I'm smart.
Very much so.
Thank you.
So Violet's character, as well as her leadership, I feel really shines in this chapter. They're talking about Tynan, who's stuck on the hanging buoy balls.
Yes.
I'm just picturing his dumbass holding onto the giant ball, just screaming like a little baby.
Yep.
But Violet thinks, he might be a gullible ass, but he's still my squad mate. And I feel like this is very much Violet's core being shining through in this moment. We've been forced into this squad together. I'm gonna do what I can to help you out, even when you're a dick. And Riddick proceeds to make fun of Tynan. What's the matter, Tynan? Scared of heights? Who's the liability now? Which, that word liability specifically.
Yes.
Dane having told Violet that she's one, for Riddick to then mention it, I was like,
I love Riddick.
me too. Like,
That's my boy. I have claimed him. That's my boy.
smash or pass, Riddick.
Smash.
Same. No doubts, no questions. But after he says that, Violet elbows him. It's like, stop. Just because he's a dick doesn't mean you have to be one. And I'm just like,
But
fair.
it's fun. Which is exactly Riddick's reaction too.
But he's giving me so much material to work with.
That's my boy.
She doesn't stop him when Tynan's being an ass earlier. It's just in this moment when Violet's like, you're better than this. And
Because
so
he's already down, like.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's one thing to stand up to Tynan when Tynan's being an ass. It's another thing when it's like kicking somebody when they're down. I believe there's another, hold on to this thought.
Yeah, I know what
there's
you're
a line
talking
later
about.
that I'm like, I loved, because it's like, for the first time in my life, I want to kick somebody when they're down and keep kicking until they stay down, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I've been there. I've almost done that. Oh, so then, seeing that Tynan is stuck, Violet suggests to Rhiannon, who can't see from her vantage point as she's already up on the gauntlet, to grab a rope closest to Tynan to, like, offer it to him. And all Violet says is, the rope is between the first and second. He's like, got it, bet. And goes to the rescue, and I'm like, this is leadership from Rhiannon, and how she takes initiative and does a maneuver that Violet is like, I'm gonna try that. That's inspiring. Rita seems like such a badass. I'm not gonna lie. I want to be Rhea. I wrote in here, so when Rhiannon finally gives Tynan the rope, he climbs down instead of continuing the gauntlet. And Violet thinks, my jaw practically unhinges as he descends. Definitely didn't see that one coming. And I wrote, I did. Chicken shit. This made me laugh for some reason, because it's something I would very much do when... So Violet and Orly, timing-wise, end up making it to the same switchback. The dreaded rolling log one. The entire time Violet goes over, she's just like, quick feet, quick feet, quick feet.
Yeah, I love that. I love it so much.
I was like, this is me right here.
I was gonna say that's something I would do.
It's so good.
Quick feet.
Then we get some Violet scribe-isms to calm herself down. And she starts talking about a specific type of dragon breed. And I'm just like, knowing what we see when we get to presentation. Foreshadow alert! But I also loved all these, like, facts for the dragons. We learned that feather tails are the ones we know the least about, because feather tails reportedly abhor violence and are not suitable for bonding. We also get a time frame. It's been 7 weeks in the quadrant. Because Violet thinks, I've survived 7 weeks in this damned quadrant, and this course isn't going to beat me today.
Yeah, I love that as well. I love how much her confidence is growing.
Yes. I love a badass. I get it's not easy to be a badass all the time, but it makes the moments when those do pop up shine even more for me, because I'm like, this is what I cling to when things aren't this way. And it's nice to have, as a reader, it shown on the page, because it's almost something that I can aspire to, you know? Because sometimes I need to remind myself, like, I'm a badass. I can get through it.
Yes, you is. Yes, you can.
Oh. Right back at you. I love also this little banter between Orly and Violet before the end. When Orly's just like, this is the best. And Violet's out of breath like, you clearly need to see the healer. I don't know if you listen to the audio for that, but
Yes.
I think the narrator does such a great job of being like,
Yes, she does.
because that would be me too. Then Orly gives her last, like, advice. Just run straight across this one. Trust me, if you pause, it'll roll you right off. Violet makes it, instantly turns around like, okay, I'm gonna cheer you on. You've got this, Orly. She's like, here I come. And right as Orly takes off, a green dagger tail flies overhead, distracting everybody on the course. And Orly stops and is rolled off the log. R.I.P. Orly.
Why the good ones gotta die?
Right?
Like, why couldn't it have been Tynan?
No one is safe. As is like, I comfort you, it's okay.
It's okay, Mama. I love you. I'm going to put all of my fur in your nose, but I love you.
Also, how close they were, like, proximity-wise to each other on the gauntlet. Orly fell off of the 5th post, and Violet, having already made it, reached over the 7th one to try to grab them.
Yeah.
And so, like, Orly was almost there. And they were just far enough that Violet couldn't have done anything to help.
It's putting another one in the heartbreak column.
It's the next morning, and Captain Fitzgibbons is reading off the death roll. We find out that Orly isn't the only one from their squad that passed away that day. There's a Newland, I want to say it's like Javon. Then Violet says 2nd squad, flame section, 4th wing. That's her squad, her section, her wing. And it just says he had breakfast duty with me. So I imagine he wasn't one of the 9 first years, because we already got all their names. We've met Imogen, who we know is a 2nd year, and I don't know if they've mentioned her by name yet, but we know that the other 2nd year in this section of chapters. So I imagine maybe he was a 3rd year, if we already know the 2 2nd years. But maybe he was also a 2nd year. I'm not sure. I just know that he was in her squad. This morning's death roll really affects Violet, and I thought a really poignant quote is, our first trial on the gauntlet has made the roll longer, but it's just another list on just another day, except it's not. The exceptional cruelty of this ritual has never hit me this hard before. It's not like the first day anymore. I know more than half the names as they're called. My vision blurs. It's like, the longer she's in this quadrant, the more invested she is, not just in her own safety, but in other people's. And that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
This line, too, once Orly's name is called, we get her last name, finally. I believe it's Donins, but it says, quote, a single tear escapes and I bat it away, ripping open one of the scabs along my cheek. A trickle of blood follows as the next name is called, but I let that one stain me.
I love that.
It's a little emo.
Look, why do you think I loved it?
That's why I called it out.
I am emo trash.
It's, I believe, a couple of days later, and Violet volunteers to take Orly's stuff to be burned, to be commended to Malek. And thoughts on this tribute to the god of death?
I'm a sentimental bitch, so for me personally, it's heartbreaking, but I do understand it in, like, a spiritual sense.
I feel like it happens quite a bit in our history as well, like Egyptians being buried with items.
I understand it, but for me personally, I don't think I could do that. But then, with the freaking... Oh. So for the epigraph of chapter 11, the last line of it is, he who does not burn for Malik will be burned by Malik. I'm like, well, goddamn, that's a
Like,
little
literally?
intense, right? Like, it's a little bit ominous.
A little bit. So Violet is just contemplating. She can't get past the chimney. And so she's seriously considering Dane's offer until she notices 3 dragons returning from the west. Who could that be? We about to find out. The line about the weight of Orly's pack is staggering. She was strong enough to carry so much over the parapet, and yet she fell. And I'm somehow still standing. I think she has survivor's guilt.
Oh, yeah. But then also aligning with that, acknowledging how staggering the weight of Orly's pack is. And then, like, a paragraph later, she says, a couple of months ago, I couldn't have carried a pack this heavy. So, like, look at the progress you've made.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
don't think she sees it
incredible.
in this moment necessarily.
No, because I think she's blinded by survivor's guilt and doesn't realize that she is worthy of being there. She still thinks that again, I'm glad that her confidence is building, but I think to some extent she does still have this inner voice and this idea of herself that she is small and she's a weakling.
Well, it doesn't help that Dane keeps trying to affirm this belief.
But once
Asshole.
again, shut the fuck up, Dane.
Right? I love this part. So after she sees the 3 dragons, she says she sees the gauntlet waiting to claim its next victim. Her inner monologue is, it won't be me. She then goes on to think, but why? Because I'll conquer it? Or because I'll give in to Dane's request and hide in the scribe quadrant? My entire being rebels against the second option, which makes me question everything. And I'm like, or you could lean into it, you know? Lean into it, babe. You got this.
You could do it. Like, hold on to that. Embrace that feeling, that rebellion. Like, listen to your gut.
Intuition. That's a thing. So she sees Garrick, Bodhi, and Xaden entering from the courtyard. And I think it's funny that she's hiding in the same alcove that Dane brought her to when she first crossed the parapet. And the way she thinks she's all sneaky. Like, I hide in the darkness. I'm like, look at who you're hiding from.
Right? Like, do you not remember what happened last time?
He commands shadows. I don't know if it's stated yet, but Bodhi is a second year. Garrick and Xaden are thirds. Where would they be coming back from? Why did they leave? These were all questions I have that don't get answered. What y'all doing? I know y'all are marked ones too. You doing something sneaky? I want to know.
Having another meeting?
Maybe. They're in a group of 3. Melgren can't see him. She gets the Xaden prickles. The Xaden's spidey senses a tingling. I feel like scalp prickles and hairs on the back of my neck are kind of like interchangeable when it comes to Xaden. It's interesting that this is a response that Violet physically has anytime Xaden is around or she thinks about him, and like suddenly like their awareness locks into place of each other. And I'm just like, does this mean y'all gonna be fated mates? I love that trope in books. Y'all mates? What's happening? You gonna love each other? You can kiss? You gonna bone? What's happening?
Are you gonna kiss? Now kiss.
Now kiss. Kiss. Xaden sends Garrett and Bodhi away. And I just wrote, you just want to be alone with Violet. I know what you're doing.
Oh, he's so flirty. He's so flirty right here. I know it. I feel it. I can see what's going on there. I see it. I see it.
It doesn't help that I'm over here just like the entire time. Finally, at least one of them is like, so no questions about where I've been, because they didn't have that conversation under the tree. They're learning.
I also love that she's just like, yeah, I don't give a shit.
And he's just like, oh, you really don't. I'm intrigued.
Why don't you care about me?
Right? It's like, you don't love me? How do I make you love me?
Why don't you want me, damn it? He's so into her. He's so into her.
And she doesn't even see it.
She's so
It drives me
silly.
nuts sometimes.
She's so silly.
I would instantly, knowing how fine of a man Xaden is, if he started flirting with me like that, there would be no questions, and I would be like, Dane who? I don't know a Dane. Do you know a Dane? I don't know if I've even heard that name before.
A Great Dane? You looking for a dog?
Yes. He uses the nickname Violence again, and I swoon. He says one of my favorite lines, so he gives her advice, because Violet's fixated on this idea of like being hopeful, and that it scares her, essentially, that she might survive. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this now instead of in the favorites, because that's going to be saved for the flirty banter. So Xaden says, here's the thing, Sorengale. Hope is a fickle, dangerous thing. It steals your focus and aims it toward the possibilities instead of keeping it where it belongs, on the probabilities. Damn, that's some good advice. Where was this when we were trying to help all the first year marked ones under the tree? I think he's a little more invested in Violet's well-being than for other first years. Just a little bit.
Only because he wants to bone her.
Fair. Okay, so he just arrives back from who knows where, and before he gives that good advice, he's like, and then you lose a squad mate and you can't quite get up the chimney, and you give up. Like, how'd you learn about this? You weren't on the gauntlet field, like, watching
That's
for
true.
practices. You were off wherever you were with Bodhi and Garrick, so how do you know she can't make it up the chimney? I understand maybe finding out on the death roll that you lost somebody in your wing with Orly's death, so I can understand how he would know that one. Unless he's just, like, guessing.
I could also very much see it being gossipy because so many people seem to be rooting for her downfall, to be like, oh my god, she couldn't even get up the blah 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 the chimney.
True.
You know,
But when would he have time to gossip?
I don't know. Maybe the shadows are gossiping.
I mean, I imagine that's how he finds out a lot of stuff. Is
He knows everything that goes on.
So maybe he's checking in with the shadows as she's talking, and he's like, yes, thank you, shadow number one. Let me reiterate what you just told me.
Doctor?
Yes. So let's dive into chapter 11. So, question for you with timeline stuff, because I am notoriously not good at following along. They talk about the next practice sessions. So, is this like a 9 practice montage real quick? Because then, so Xaden gives her that advice. She comes up with this idea to make it up the gauntlet when Rhiannon asks her later in the chapter about, or maybe she's asking her when they're walking for a presentation.
Yeah. I think it's for presentation.
And she's like, you could have told me. Why didn't you tell me about the rope and the dagger thing? She's like, I only thought of it last night. So I'm like, if you talked to Xaden last night at the beginning of chapter 11, is that just like a montage moment of like the 9 different practices you've had before Gauntlet?
I'm thinking so.
Because that's how I'm understanding it, but I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly.
I feel like it definitely skips through the next practice sessions pretty quickly. I think it has taken her all of those practice sessions, all those days, whatever, to come up with a plan based off
Okay.
of his advice, is
Gotcha.
how I interpreted it. Yeah.
So then Violet says one of my favorite things as far as trying to find the self-confidence. It says, quote, but most importantly, if I go, if I hide, I'll never know if I'm good enough to make it here. And while I might not survive if I stay, I'm not sure I can live with myself if I leave.
I loved that.
It's giving dreamer vibes, for sure.
Yes.
Remember
Definitely.
this when I go into a big deep dive for the very first song I suggest for chapter 9. It's bad. I literally just analyzed the entire song. Granted, it's a reprise, so it's a short song. It's presentation day now. It's early in the morning because they're at the death rolls. Okay, so this is where Dane is throwing a hissy fit. And he's essentially ignoring Violet when the squad is grouped up and together.
Yeah.
I'm just like, so you're mature. Imogen does have one little quip that I quite appreciated. Because being 5'2" as well, when I round up. I've heard every short joke. And this whole, hopefully you won't fall, short, it was a classic. And I was like, you know what? I can appreciate it.
We can appreciate a good burn.
Yeah. So we meet Sienna, the executive officer. Imogen walks away with her and Quinn, the other second year in their squad. Quinn has been described previously as somebody who had a lot of piercings in their ear, but was never given a name. We now know it is Quinn.
Cool. I like the name Quinn a lot.
I wonder why.
I have no idea why. Wow, I don't know.
Oh no.
No.
And then we meet Heaton. The thickest third year in their squad, and they have they, them pronouns.
They, them, rep, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
We love to see it.
And it's
Also, they
just
seem cool as fuck.
with the red like flames shaved and dyed into their hair. Hell yeah. I love that it's literally, even as people are talking about Heaton, it's their pronouns are they, them, and there's no fuss. Everybody just recognizes it and moves on with their day.
Yup.
It should be.
Just normal. There's
Yes.
nothing weird about it. There's nothing unusual. It is par for the course. I love it.
Rebecca Yarros is so great at representation in this normalizing way. It's just thrown in, this is how it is in this world. Get with it or get out. Kind of the thing.
Yup.
And I love that.
Me too.
So in my deep dives with these chapters, I have spreadsheets to keep just like different characters categorized. I have a spreadsheet for patches. Is it important?
Oh.
I don't know. Violet
Maybe.
is constantly talking about how she notices everybody wearing them and sees them for the weaknesses that they actually are. Mm-hmm. And that Xaden only wears the fourth wing emblem and then his wing leader patch. He doesn't wear any other weakness on his sleeve. And so I was like, this feels important. So I've been keeping track of patches.
That's smart.
I don't know if it'll come up, but I felt I needed to share it with you.
I love it.
I bring it up because Heaton has a circular patch on their upper right arm with water and floating spheres, and she wonders what that means. I already know because I've technically already read this book. But thoughts on what you think that could mean?
Something with water? Is he the next Avatar?
Yes, that's exactly what it means. They are the next Avatar.
But yeah, no, I would assume it's something like water manipulation.
Fair guess, fair guess. I paraphrased, but the quote for Violet with the patches says, I've been paying close attention to the patches other cadets have sewn into their uniform. Most wear them like badges of honor, but I recognize them for what they really are. Intelligence that I might one day need to defeat them. Our girl is smart.
Yeah, she is. That's that scribe brain in action.
This whole conversation between Rhiannon and Violet about Dane and not being able to give him something. Rhiannon instantly is like sexual? Is that what you mean?
I love it.
And I love Rhee's line of, I wouldn't care if it was like that. He's hot. He has that whole boy next door who can still kick your ass vibe going for him. I find it interesting that even with the one loss of the first years, that Riddick points out that they're still the biggest squad. That's wild. That so many other first years are just gone so easily.
It made me wonder, I wonder if there are any squads that are down to 3 people or less. 1 or 2 people.
There has to be. I believe
That's
there
terrifying.
are 36 squads in total, so the chances are high. This banter, as they're walking up to the gauntlet, just kind of teasing each other beforehand, where Vi asks Rhea if she's nervous. She's like, for you? Not at all. We've got this. And Violet's like, I meant about the history test tomorrow.
Right?
There's nothing going on today to panic about.
I fucking love their friendship. I love their
so
relationship.
good.
I love their banter.
So after ignoring Violet the entire time, Dane finally locks eyes with her as they're walking in the tunnel to get to the gauntlet. He falls back with Rhiannon and Violet, and the first thing he says is, change your mind.
Shut the fuck up, dude!
She says no, and then he holds her hand. He begs. She says, I can't, any more than you would leave Kath and run to the scribe yourself. Dane responds, that's different, I'm a rider.
Bitch!
But thankfully, Violet's like, well, maybe I am too. Then he finally says, what changed between Parapet and now? And Violet says, me.
You damn right. You goddamn
Mic
right, girl.
drop.
Get it.
I thought this was a huge insight into Violet's current feelings for Dane. It's an hour later. She's at the gauntlet, up it already. And it says, quote, I swear I can feel Dane staring from the bottom of the course. I don't look down. There's no time for what he thinks will be one last look. And I can't afford the delay of comforting him when there are still 2 obstacles ahead of me. And while this can be read as just Violet being focused on what she's doing right now, if you still had romantic feelings, that would be in the back of your head,
Right? You would think that.
maybe I do want to do just one last look in case I never see him again. On the next page, she's thinking about the words that Xaden tells her from the night before, that the right way wasn't the only way, and it's that they have played over and over in her head all night long. So it sounds like it was the previous night before.
You're right.
By the time the sun rose and chased away the darkness, I had a plan.
Yeah, that does kink up the timeline.
So I'm wondering if it was just a 9-day montage,
Yeah.
quickly to get us caught up, and then we're back to the next day after that night.
Interesting.
I wrote here, can't spare Dana thought, but you can Xaden.
I just put in my notes, good girl, don't give a fuck about Dane. Don't you worry about him. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you're doing. Do not let that man, even thinking about that man, hold you back.
Exactly. So I thought this was a cool little shout out. It says, quote, I wait until I feel the precious shift the moment gravity reclaims my body almost 2 feet from the top. It explains in the paragraph before that she was watching her other squad mates at this point because she hasn't actually gotten to this part of the gauntlet yet. And literally when you go back to the first day when Sawyer shows off how to perform the gauntlet for their squad. It says specifically, like, in the text there that he jumps up, waits for gravity to shift, and he starts to fall before he reaches out. And I thought that was a cool little, like, Violet noticed it then, and she's recalling it now. I thought that was good foreshadowing on Rebecca's part.
Yeah, I like that.
So she makes it to the top by bending the rules. And one Amber Mavis has a big problem with it. Can we just talk about how freaking sweet it is when Rhiannon sweeps her up into a hug when she makes it, and then Riddick just joins in on the hug like the third wheel?
No, my boy.
It's so cute.
Oh, I love you.
And just the way they, like, respond as she's doing it, like, he yells, "Hell yes, that's our girl."
Yeah, I love
From the top.
it.
She's, like, cheering her on.
Oh,
Fucking Riddick. He has my heart.
yes.
And Amber's like, "She can't do that." He's like, "Yeah, well, she just did."
She just did.
And Garrick in this scene. I adore Garrick.
Same. Like, defending her?
Yes. No reason to, other than the fact that she's just in his squad.
My God.
Unless he knows a little something from Zayden. Like, hey.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, boy. Get fucked, jealous bitch.
And Zayden's just reaction to this whole interaction is so good because he doesn't give Amber the time of day when Violet's explaining the codex to Zayden. Amber's instantly like, "Are you quoting the codex to me?" Like, she wasn't even looking at you.
Right? Bitch, calm the fuck down.
Zayden's just, like, direct eye contact with Violet, doesn't even acknowledge Amber, listens to her. He's like, "Stand up for yourself. You've got this." And lets her, and then sides with her. If Dane were in that position, I don't think
No.
he would have even let Violet give her case.
Nope, probably not.
Because he loves the codex just as much as Amber. I also think this is a cool callback to when Violet crosses the parapet and whips out a dagger on Jack's balls. I'm imagining this is one of those same daggers that she brought from home.
Yeah.
And so I literally wrote when she presents it, she's like, "This isn't a challenge blade. It's one I carried across and therefore considered part of myself." I wrote, "Just ask Jack's balls."
Ugh, it's unfortunate he still has those.
We're still hoping. I love that she's proud of that which makes her different.
Yes.
In this case, having scribe knowledge. There were 171 cadets before they went to the gauntlet. Now, as we're starting chapter 12, there are only 169. That means 2 people died on the gauntlet before they even got to meet the dragons.
Y'all were so close.
So close, yet so far. Ooh, so we finally get to meet some dragons.
Yes, we do.
We see every color, I believe, except for blue. Kaori said that there weren't any willing to bond this year. They average 25 feet tall. I can't picture that.
Nope. I tried. Nope.
Garrick's little, like, tough love speech before they go and present themselves.
Love it.
Garrick, I would also smash. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Smashing all the paper people.
All the paper people. All the paper people. Now put
All
your
the
hands
paper
up.
people.
So, the quadrant leader, the senior wing leader, that's Naira from chapter 3, I believe, up at the dais after they crossed parapet.
Yeah.
Because she had silver spikes on her uniform. Mm-hmm. Now she has gold ones. And I love that.
Yeah.
Violet, like, she wanted to throw in a little extra badass today. She is talking to them, and all she says is, "Talk." And Riddick instantly is like, "Nice day for a presentation."
I love Riddick.
He's
I love
so
him. Oh.
Tynan is just, "How are we supposed to be able to tell what breeds they are if we can't see their tails? How do I know which one to approach?" You don't. This is for them to decide who to approach.
You a fucking idiot.
Yep. I love Rhiannon's little, "Hopefully one of them will decide you don't get to make it to threshing" line. It's like,
Yes.
slightly petty Rhiannon is my favorite.
Yes. Petty and sassy. We love the combo.
Violet even starts to get a little feisty with Tynan. Violet says, "With arrogance like that, I'm sure any dragon would feel lucky to share your mind for the rest of your life. I pity whatever dragon, if any, chooses him." I'm leaning real hard on that "if any."
Yes.
We learn about the little gold dragon at the end of the line. And we see certain cadets' true colors. Like Luca, it's fucking yellow.
It's like they're asking to be killed, her and Tynan. Just straight up. Have you listened to nothing?
It shows how little respect they have for the dragons themselves.
When they're standing right in front of you.
Right? You have no sense of self-preservation. I see it.
Clearly.
I see it now. Oh, here's the line where Tynan says that someone should kill the little golden one. And Violet thinks, for the first time in my life, I actually want to kick someone while they're down. And keep kicking until they stay down. I've never felt a line more.
Yeah, I feel that.
And then Tynan says the first actual logical thing, as if he does understand, that they don't have a choice when it comes to the dragons that want to bond. It's the dragon's choice. And Riddick's like, you're just picking up on that now, are you?
Yeah. You said the thing that you should have been thinking about the entire time. You fucking idiot.
I'm shocked he gets away at the end of this chapter without
Honestly.
getting charbroiled. And Luca's little comment about, they're honestly a little underwhelming after seeing that blue at Parapet. That blue at Parapet's taken. Find a different dragon.
So is its rider.
We also see some more of Violet's morals. So she's comforting Rhiannon. On their way back, she sees that there's tension between the squad. And so she's like, I need to diffuse this quickly. And I was like, you got a strong moral compass.
And really great leadership skills.
And it's funny because I don't think Violet sees herself as a leader at all. Yet she's just naturally displaying all these things. And I love it. Especially because it's natural leadership. It's things I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they think of someone as a leader. But Violet exhibits them in flying colors.
Yes.
They start to talk about fables. And it makes me think of that book of fables that Violet had in the very first chapter, about thinking that her mom was a Venom once because she has bloodshot eyes.
Poor sweet baby. Poor sweet baby Violet. I can only imagine being that terrified of your mother.
The fact that all the guards kept running and she was hiding behind her brother who was just cackling about it. So cute. Then we get Indecisive Prior, who apparently the dragons do not tolerate.
Yeah.
And he is the first casualty of presentation.
Kind of saw that one coming. I can't say that I'm all that upset about it, to be honest. Dude wasn't an asshole or anything.
No.
But
Just couldn't make up his mind.
that is a liability.
Poor guy. Luca then complains about the way his ashes smell.
Girl, you just saw this dude get barbecued. What is going on through your mind right now that makes you think that that can't happen to you as well? Again, no self-preservation.
So then the two green dragons get all up in Violet's business. I would have pissed my pants. But they apparently smell Mira's dragon scales in the vest. And poor Rhiannon's also right there, terrified, like, oh, I'm losing my best friend in this moment.
I mean, I would be terrified for both of us.
I find it interesting. So in our previous chapters, after running into Rhiannon, when Rhiannon comes out of a room with Cierra, that green pillar, there was a green dagger tail that flew over that distracted Orally. And now two greens are like really interested. Green dragons, specifically these past couple of chapters, have been
Very prominent.
yeah, comparatively to the other colors. Like, we hear about oranges and reds and browns.
But we don't necessarily see them as much. Also, I love that Mira's dragon's name is Tiny. I know it's not spelled that way, but I like it.
Especially with the line earlier where she's talking about, I know a writer who can make things very big, like something tiny, larger, and then the dragon's tiny. I will say the graphic audio pronounces it slightly differently, and I know graphic audio also gets the pronunciation from Rebecca Yarros herself.
Okay.
And I believe they pronounce it Tyne instead of Tiny.
I'm sticking with Tiny. I like
You
it.
do you. I love Violet's reaction when Rhiannon's like, you all right? And she's like, other than having a few years of my life shaved off. And then she kind of becomes a little bit hysterical.
Yeah, I would
like-
too.
I think I just shot myself.
My boy. My boy.
That was like very much needed comic relief in that moment. I love, like, Riddick seems to be a favorite, even Violet, when she feels the heat behind her head. She's like, please don't be Riddick. Please don't be Riddick.
Yeah.
And then he's like, guess the dragons think she's insufferable too.
I fucking love Riddick.
Me too.
I love him. So
put-
much.
My thoughts exactly when she's begging for it to not be Riddick. Do you have anything else before we head into our favorite moments? I'm gonna let you go first with this one because it's a Xaden heavy one, and I will end up quoting everything.
So they're wrestling. She calls him a beautiful fucking asshole. My breath catches and my body warms, the traitorous bitch. Favorite line, you are not attracted to toxic men. Mm-hmm. Like, girl, are you sure? Are you sure?
Also, this feels like a call out from Rebecca Yarros, like, who hasn't?
Right?
Who hasn't?
I've been there. That is, I mean, all of the banter, it's all my favorite.
He's like, going for blood today, are we, Violence? And it's the first utterance of Violence as a nickname. She's like, my name is Violet. I think my version fits you better.
Yes, I like that. Sorry, I did have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
When he tells her, I expect you to learn from your mistakes. I'm like, oh, so you have expectations for her. Is that just because she's, one of your squad members? And you're, her
Wing leader.
superior, her wing leader? Yeah. Or do you have an invested interest?
A little bit of both, maybe.
¿Por qué no los dos?
I love when she's like, you'd rather I die, no doubt. He's like, and be denied the pleasure of your company. She responds, I fucking hate you. And he's like, that doesn't make you special. So then when she finally, learns, he's like, she can be taught. She's a quick learner. That remains to be seen.
I love it. I love the banter.
Just calling her out. So then when he's taking her last dagger and showing her all the points on his body that were good fits, he's like bracketed between her hips and on top of her on the mat. Quote, I swallow, refusing to think of other things that are a good fit at this angle.
Girl. Oh, goddamn. Oh.
You need to get laid. Preferably
For
by
real.
Xaden, and preferably soon. Thank you. I also love, so he brings up, you can't poison everyone. She's like, how did you know? Oh, Violence, you're good, but I've known better poison masters. The trick is to not make it quite so obvious. Like, who's this other poison master that you know of? So she finally, as he gets up off the mat, she's like, you're not going to disarm me? My favorite line from this chapter. Nope. Defenseless women have never been my type. Like, why are paper men so much better? Why?
Yeah. I just love Riddick standing up and being Riddick, honestly. That's my favorite. Riddick is my favorite. Most of my favorites for chapter 10 was really just the flirtation. I mean,
I like when, so in chapter 10, once Xaden comes back into the picture, Violet's like, look, are you going to kill me or not? The anticipation is starting to annoy the fuck out of me. Xaden responds, haven't decided yet. Violet says, well, could you? It would definitely help me make my plans for the week. Am I affecting your schedule, Violence? I just need to know what my chances are here. That's the oddest way I have ever been hit on.
I love that. Yes.
It's so good.
He's so flirty.
Not my chances with you, conceited prick.
He wants her.
This moment when he grabs her wrist and kind of pulls her in, and the brush of his thumb over her pulse, I'm just frozen in place while reading this chapter. I love the line, killing you wouldn't be any trouble, Violence. It's leaving you alive that seems to cause the majority of my trouble.
Yes.
Then the hope line that I mentioned earlier. That's a good one. She tries to storm off, and he tells her to stop sulking, essentially.
Yes.
And then I really love this line. He says, people die. It's going to happen over and over again. It's the nature of what happens here. What makes you a writer is what you do after people die. You want to know why you're still alive? Because you're the scale I currently judge myself against every night. Every day I let you live, I get to convince myself that there's still a part of me that's a decent person. So if you want to quit, then please spare me the temptation and fucking quit. But if you want to do something, then do it.
Oh, yes. I love that. I love that she found a legal loophole
Yeah.
in the codex and used it to her advantage. Ooh. When Xaden is... She's talking to Xaden about said loophole. And it says, his eyes flare, and I don't miss the hint of a smirk on that infuriatingly decadent mouth of his. It should be against the codex to look that good and be so ruthless. Like, girl, you are barely containing your lust. And then I just love when Xaden goes, Orin Gale, you're leaking. Like,
Do something about it.
leaking? Not bleeding, you're leaking. Okay, sure, okay. That's one way to put it.
I will say I forgot in chapter 10, when Xaden's talking about commanding shadows, as soon as he sees her, he notices the scab on her face from her first attempt at Gauntlet. And then when he shows a demonstration of his power, she swears she can feel a shadow caress that hurt spot. And it's very much he gravitates towards the hurt, and he's like, who fucking did that? And you can see subconsciously he's just like, I make it better. Here's a shadow band-aid.
Oh, shadow band-aid.
Violet out codexing Amber Mavis was just brilliant.
So in general, I love how much world building has happened in this section that we've read. Again, with her talking to herself about the different types of dragons to help calm herself down when they're practicing for the gauntlet. And with the folklore, the talking about the wyverns, it just makes everything feel more real, and like the depth of the story is just, I love
And
it.
it makes sense that there would be fables of dragon-like creatures. Like, how many instances in history are there of boogeymen that are meant to scare you and are allegory for something else? It feels just very real in the moment.
Also, I have a tattoo of a wyvern. If y'all are lucky, maybe I'll post a picture of it on our Instagram, because it's on my ribcage, so I'm not going to show it to y'all now.
So you're saying you wouldn't be opposed to getting a dragon tattoo with me after this season?
I mean, we already have, what, 2, 3 tattoos together?
1, 2,
I think just 2?
I think. Because I
Why do I
have
keep
4
thinking
and
there's
you
3?
have half of my tattoos.
Hell yeah. The way that I fucking cackled when Luca got what was coming to her. I mean, it made me a little bit concerned for my moral compass, but, like, that bitch deserved it.
Does it make you feel better that it doesn't surprise me that you cackled at that?
No. Yes? I mean, what can I say?
I
You
am
know
who
me.
I am.
You know me.
Shall we get into our song dedication? Alrighty. So, forgive me for chapter 9. I picked a reprise. It's Liability by Lord. And literally, because it's such a short song, every line it worked. I broke it all down. Let me get into this.
Go for it.
So I imagine this is the way Violet feels on her way back to the barracks after talking with Dane. The line, "I'm a liability, much for me, you're a little much for me," these are Dane's words repeating through her mind. The lyrics, just no, no, no repeated. Violet is unable to accept these words. Then the line, "And what you gonna do? Run to the scribes? Or stay?" The line, "All of the dreams that get harder." Violet is starting to believe in herself. This is becoming a dream that she can see coming true. "All of the things that I offer you." This is Dane's offer, but also all that Violet could offer Dane. Like, if only you actually saw her and the person she is and not who you imagine her to be, y'all could be dating already. The line, "And all of the shit that we harbor make all of the kids in the choir sing." The lyric says, "Woohoo." I took it as like, woohoo. Like, damn, y'all harboring some shit. There's too much unsaid between the two of them, between their feelings for each other or the subconscious guilt over the slow loss of those feelings. In the lyrics now, this is where Violet's thoughts start to take a turn. The line, "And maybe all this is the party. Maybe the tears and the highs we breathe." Maybe she's learning to excel in her own way since joining the Writer's Quadrant and is enjoying the challenge of it. The line, "And maybe all this is the party. Maybe we just do it violently." Xaden's nickname for Violet. And maybe Violet is finding that she aligns more with Xaden and his methods than she is with Dane. The lyric, "But you're not what you thought you were." The first 2 times this repeats, I feel like this is Violet assuring herself. Like, I am more than what others believe that I am. The last 2 times that this line repeats, Dane's words are coming back, and they're repeating themselves in her brain. But this is also Violet starting to realize Dane isn't what she thought he was. The very last line of the song is "leave." I take this as Dane's not-so-silent urging, but also Violet starting to realize that the thing she should leave isn't the Writer's Quadrant, but Dane.
I really like that. I think that fits really well.
Thanks.
So the song that I chose specifically was like going through my head while Xaden and Violet were sparring, and it's Paralyzed by The Used. And like the vibe of it is just very energetic. It's kind of like dancey, at least to me. And I feel like sparring can very much be like that, or like any sort of like combat kind of between 2 people, you know, martial arts. All that kind of, like, it can very much feel like a dance. But the line from the song that, like, really resonated with me, or that I felt like really fit, is, "How can a fist fight be romantic?"
I love that.
Which, like, in normal circumstances, very toxic. In this particular circumstance,
Also very toxic.
but still kind of hot.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Not that it's a fist fight, but, like, they're sparring. They're, like, you know, it's wrestling. Anyway.
So for chapter 10, I picked White Flag by Bishop Briggs, an anthem for never giving up. Fuck anyone who doesn't believe in you. You've got this. Applicable lyrics are, "Won't wave my white flag, no. This time I won't let go. I'd rather die than give up the fight. Put an X on my chest, but I'm still standing, because I won't forget the hell on earth you put me through. I'll save myself in spite of you."
Oh, I love that. That's good. Very. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mine is I'll Make a Man Out of You from Mulan.
I knew not seeing your song picks this time around would be worth it.
I can't, like, when I was listening to the audiobook while they're doing the gauntlet, that's just all that I could hear in my head was picturing this montage of them doing this over and over, and people telling Violet or making Violet feel like she's not good enough, that she's weak, that she shouldn't be there, that she's too small. And plus, with the Xaden challenging her in, like, the prior chapter compared to, like, the romance between Mulan and I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry. Yes, I just felt, ooh, because they were also kind of not like necessarily enemies to lovers, but there was definitely tension there before they got it on. Not that they got it on; it was a Disney movie. But you know what I mean?
Animated movie.
It's just an animated Disney movie. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, the whole energy of it just felt very fitting to me for that part of the chapter.
Fair. Do you think you'll keep up this track of one Disney song each episode?
It's starting to look that way.
I'm here for it. I just
Hell yeah.
was wondering.
This playlist is gonna be so fucking off the wall.
All over the place, just like us.
Yeah.
It's fitting.
ADHD in a playlist.
My song for chapter 11 is Batter by Emlyn, I believe is how you say their name. This just feels like Violet's theme, especially with the gauntlet. And it's a shout out to all our fellow book baddies.
My choice for chapter 11 is also more of like a vibe thing. I chose Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush.
Good song.
It does feel a little bit on the nose because like Gauntlet, she's like literally running up the chimney. Okay, but also the lyrics, if I only could make a deal with God, with how much like the gods have, I mean, not that they've played like a huge part in it, but with how much they've talked about the gods and specifically mentioning her praying to like the god of luck.
Zinal.
Yes, Zinal. Yes. It also reminds me of the climax of Stranger Things, and we know that song was a huge part of that season. Yeah, it gave that vibe to me. Like I'm taking on this challenge and yeah.
I like it, I like it. My final song for chapter 12 is Game of Survival by Ruel. I think that's how you pronounce it. I looked it up even and I was like, Ruel? Ruel. But I feel like the song is just a lesson that some cadets need to learn for presentation. This is the Dragon's game, and these writer hopefuls are the prey. I'm looking directly at you, Tynan.
Hell yeah. For my last selection, I was kind of focused more on the friendship between Rhiannon and Violet, and not just specifically theirs, but how much the squad has kind of bonded. Yes, even the asshole ones, there's a level of that asshole cousin or like bratty little younger brother, bratty little sister kind of thing. So the song that I chose is With a Little Help from My Friends by the Beatles. And especially with how much some members of the squad have really helped each other to improve, like Sawyer and Rhiannon, obviously. Hi, Sheemish. Hi, buddy.
Nope.
There he is. Hi, Smoosh. Just
He's
in
always
time.
over that shoulder specifically.
Yes, he is. If you don't know the song, which is incredibly famous, it is the Beatles. But the line, I get by with the help from my friends. Or I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, just felt very apropos for this one.
I like it. Good song choices this round. I mean, I say that
you.
after every one, but...
So did I, so you know what? It works. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this week's episode.
We're so excited to be on this journey with you.
Haven't had enough of us yet? Stick around for the bloopers and join us next week as we discuss everything that happened in chapters 13 through 17.
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bound to Be Bad Podcast.
And while you're at it, please be sure to leave a glowing rating and review on your podcast listening platform of choice. It helps us grow.
Know a fellow book baddie who can't get enough of the Empyrean series either? Share us with a friend to give them something to hold on to till the next book release, because who knows when that will be.
Till then, we'll be here and we hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye!
Test or not. Okay, cool. It says we're both
It
recording.
counted down for me.
Works for me.
Okay.
We'll go with it. If it for some reason stops, we'll know it was me who messed it up.
Did it not count down for you?
No, it did.
Damn, I feel like I need my sunglasses. The light coming through my...
Hey, Book Baddie.
Hey, Book Baddie. Oh, that was you this time. Fuck, I'm sorry.
Okay. Also, I don't remember if I said my name. My brain is gone. Like, I know I must have if I was reading along with it.
Yeah,
but I'm
you
like,
did. Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, what do you mean? Yes, you did. It's in the script. It's in the script. You
Sorry,
read
I
the
worked-
script, so you did.
You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Maybe we do need to do vocal warm-ups.
Right? I've been like humming to myself, but I'm like, I need to actually do vocal warm ups. I know Dan's in the other room, and I'm like, he's gonna hear me go, ma, 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 from like High School Musical.
With how much I stumble over my words, like I need to do like dictation
Tongue
warm-ups,
exercises.
you know? Yeah, unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. That kind
I
of
could
shit.
never
Red
do
leather,
that
yellow
one.
leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Ooh. And then green.
Red leather, yellow leather, blue leather, red leather, yellow leather.
As is just a baby.
You did your baby. Yankee baby.
Hey, microphone. I can hear it.
You happy boy. You just look so angry. Cut that out. Cut that out.
I won't.
No.
I have the power.
Oh no. I knew I shouldn't have let this happen. Mood.
Your camera froze on that face, and I was like, oh no.
Love it.
I always do.
No, I meant I love it.
Oh.
I know you do. Hello.
Hello. Editing me's gonna be like, I fucking hate the both of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, editing Cierra. I love you.
As you should. She deserves the utmost respect when she's in the cave.
Oh, where am I at? There it is. Hold on.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe.